WTF Crafters, it's Andrea, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba, Canada. We are doing What's the Fold today, and today it's a double Dutch door. We're going to be using the Thoughtful Expressions stamp set and a couple of the dies. So let's jump right on into it. I've already got our papers cut here. We will be going over those measurements in just a little bit, but we are going to stamp and die cut first. So I've got the hummingbird. I've also got my blends close at hand because we will be doing a little bit of coloring today. I like to stamp and die cut before I start to color. And that is just purely in case I mess up either with my stamping or die cutting, then I won't have wasted a bunch of time coloring for something that might not come to fruition. So we've got our hummingbird stamped on basic white. We are going to grab our sentiment and we're going to stamp that onto fresh freesia. And I'm using the mini cut and emboss machine today. And the reason for that is because it fits. It takes up a lot less space on my desk and it's really easy to use. And during Celebration, if you're interested in becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can actually add it to your kit. And there's a couple of kit bonuses as well. You can either get a glass mat with an $82 value, which is amazing in crafting. So I'm just going to move this up so you can hopefully see what I'm doing. I'm just lining up our die with the hummingbird, and I'm going to shoot this through first. Whoops. All right. Line them up a little bit better here. You can hold them in place with washi tape. I prefer not to because I'm always a little bit nervous about something happening to my die and the tape sticking, although washi tape or painter's tape is usually pretty safe. It's just I get into my own head with stuff like this. So I'm going to put our die back over by the case. So there's our hummingbird cutout. And we're going to grab our other die here. Excuse me. And roughly center, and then we're going to push through as well. Now you can die cut before you stamp, but it's a little bit easier to center your sentiment if you stamp it and then die cut it. So put our dies back so we don't have any that go astray. Close this guy up for easy storage. And then we're going to color a little bit. So I've got a bunch of Stampin' Up! Colors here. Melon Mambo, light shaded spruce. I've got Granny Apple Green, and I've also got a little bit of, I've got my Lemon Lolly as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of detailing. And again, I'm just doing quick little shots of color here because I'm going to blend it all together. And the blends are super easy to use for that. They can be a little bit intimidating when you're first starting out, but the more you play and the more you practice, I promise, the easier it gets. We're just going to keep coloring. Now I like to layer up my colors and then I go in with the lightest color that I've used, and then I will use that to give it a complete going over. because I do find that doing that helps blend the colors a little bit more too. And it helps with any of the spacing that you might have missed. And then we're just going to do a little bit of Lemon Lolly right here. And there's so many varieties of hummingbirds in the world that pretty much any color can pretty much go. All right, so this again is the light Granny Apple Green. I'm just going to go over the entire thing. And I'm doing circular motions with this so that the brush or marker strokes are covered a little bit. I like doing the circular motion because I do find that it helps to blend the colors a little bit more. Depending on what I'm coloring though too, flicking, like doing like little tick marks also helps. And that one adds a little bit more texture. So I'm more prone to do that one when I'm doing like fur or something like that. Okay, I think I need to do a little bit better with this green here. It looks a little bit disjointed. So I'm just going to do there. That looks a little bit more intentional. And then if you do land on something that you don't particularly love, you can always go in with a color blender or color lifter and remove some of that color, or you can just keep going over it with a lighter color. That'll basically do the same thing and it'll help keep blending those colors. So I am pretty happy with that. And as you're going over too with the colors, you will notice that it does get a little bit darker. So now we're going to start the assembly of our card now that our coloring is done. So I've got our card base here. I'm using Fresh Freesia today. So this piece is 9 inches by 4 1/8. It is just a tiny little bit smaller than a traditional card base, which is 4 1/4 inches. And the reason for that is because I want our piece here to fold perfectly. Now I did notice that I have an ink spot, so I'm just going to flip how I have my folds scored, and I'm going to give them a good burnish, and then I'm going to add our designer series paper. The 2 pieces that I have for the bottom part of the door I've actually cut from the Flight and Airy designer series paper, which is free during Celebration. Come on. And these are cut at 2 inches by 1 7/8. So you do want to make sure that you've got it the right way before you stick them down. Now, if you do stick something down and it's not quite where it should be, you can either use the spatula end of your Take Your Pick tool or a little bit of dental floss and just kind of pry it under. That the dental floss trick works better when you're dealing with tape, not so much with glue. But if you're using wet glue, it is pretty easy to use. So I've added our adhesive to the back. Now I'm just going to line this up, centered and lined up with the bottom before I apply anything. But with the adhesive, like the liquid adhesive, if you do make a mistake with that, it does take a little bit longer to set up. So you do have some wiggle room. And then if it doesn't turn out, you can always flip it over and wait for it to dry. Or a little bit of baby powder or cornstarch on the back can get rid of some of that tack. So there's our card put together. I'm just going to go ahead and add our top piece. This one is 4 by 3 3/8. So I'm just going to go all the way around. I don't usually do that, but I feel like I want to for this one. And again, this is also from the Flight and Airy Designer Series paper pack. And if you are in Canada and don't currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like to get this, any order $60 or more before tax and shipping will get that for you. and just click the link below to be taken to my shop. All right, now we're going to get to decorating. I've got a piece of the coordinating paper here, and I'm just going to grab our 2 3/8 inch punch, and I'm just going to punch out a piece just to give it a little bit of added interest on our card front. A little bit of adhesive here. And I'm going to kind of go center, but more top of center. And then grab some dimensionals. I'm going to put our hummingbird on first. I really do love this stamp set. I'm actually featuring it in my class for February, and I'm doing both in person and online. So if you would like to join that class, pop on over to my website, andreastinson.ca /classes, and all of the information for that is right there. Now I'm going to, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to tuck it under. I was going to add a dimensional, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Okay, and then we're going to pop this guy right there, and then handy dandy adhesive pack. Now these ones are the adhesive back sparkle gems, and I think I'm going to use the black for this one, and we'll do 3 just kind of popped around. I do like a little bit of black, and these are so pretty and so sparkly. And we'll do 2 on this side too. I like odd numbers. So there we go. So there's our WTF for this week. The double Dutch door. And then of course, if you wanted to, you could also decorate the inside of your card, but I like to leave it blank so that there's more room to write a message. So if you do try this fold, I would love to see it. Pop on over to my Facebook page and give it a post so I can see what you've created. And as always, if you have any questions, please post them down below. I always do keep an eye on the comment section, and I will answer you as soon as I can. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your week with me. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon.